Pointing at you? No. Which way? Now don't get back there where the...
A revolutionary theory of the universe based on the records of the past has challenged the fundamental beliefs of modern science for more than 2 decades. Today, the unexpected findings of space explorations have confirmed many of the predictions of this theory, but the man who proposed it, Emmanuel Velikovsky, is still rejected by established science.
Well, I've taken a lot, but they're not very good. You're in too close to most of them.
And if I transgressed and went into many fields of science and humanities, it was not because I was born a rebel. I was coerced to trespass. The belief that we are living in an orderly universe, that nothing happened to this Earth and the other planets since the beginning, that nothing will happen till the end, is a wishful thinking that fills the textbooks, and your textbooks are still of Victorian vintage. Is any physicist here who would stand up and defend the proposition that only gravitation and inertia are in action in the solar system? But of all my heresies, this was the greatest. And let me ask you another question. Is the theory of uniformitarianism, which means that nothing what happened in the past could have happened if it doesn't happen today? On this is built the modern geology. On this is built the modern astronomy. On this is built the modern biology and theory of evolution. And so, it is only wishful thinking that we are living in a safe, never perturbed solar system on a safe, never perturbed Earth.
Mountains were born and mountains collapsed. Land and sea changed places. Great streams of lava flowed. The sea boiled and evaporated. Such were the scenes of unimaginable violence during the times of global catastrophe. In Worlds in Collision, Velikovsky describes the last 2 acts of this cosmic drama as recorded by the ancients. At the time of Moses, 34 centuries ago, a giant comet, which later became the planet Venus, nearly collided with the Earth. On 2 occasions, the Earth passed through the tail of this comet and experienced intense heating and enormous tides, incessant electric discharges, and rains of hot stones and a deluge of fire. Velikovsky claims that some of the oil deposits originated with the hydrocarbons in the comet's tail. This is also the source of manna that sustained the Hebrews after the exodus from Egypt.
Here in the New York Herald Tribune, Explosion in Science, the artist's conception of what happened when the heavens burst. What happened during the 1500 BC upheaval which we read about in the Bible as the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and the phenomena or upheaval that accompanied that. And this is the artist's conception of what happened in Palestine and Mexico and China. Lightning, meteorites being rained down as the comet's head came closer to the earth, followed by floods. Same in Mexico, where water swept over the entire land, great gigantic tides.
In a final collision with Mars, the comet lost the remnants of its tail and became transformed into the planet Venus. Now Mars traveled on an erratic orbit, and in the year 687 BC, it nearly collided with the Earth. There were repeated changes in the Earth's orbit, in the lengths of day, the seasons, and the year. In these catastrophes, entire species of animals were annihilated. Others proliferated from wholesale mutations. Mankind was decimated. Civilizations destroyed. In Velikovsky's world, the heavens are a huge arena where giant comets are born. Planets collide and huge sparks, thunderbolts, leap between heavenly bodies.
The whole idea of the recentness of cataclysmic events in this part of the universe, the whole idea of catastrophe and the use of science and its being based on an orderly evolution of things, were very shocking ideas to the high priests of the beautiful symmetry of reason and the natural progression of it.
He knocked out a very strong prop for an obsolete form of science, which is what surprised me about the violence of the reaction, since I would have thought that scientists themselves had long ago left this behind, and that is Newtonian science, the science which relies on order and a very simple kind of order. God, the geometrician, the clockwork universe that just was wound up at some moment in the distant past and now ticks away in its regular fashion. That he attacked, but on the other hand, he was long gone before he said anything about it. His notion that there
Eric Larrabee, director of the New York State Council of the Arts.
Is a challenge.
As an editor of Harper's Magazine, he wrote an article on Velikovsky in 1950, just prior to the publication of Worlds in Collision.
One of the surprising things about the pressure that the scientific and scholarly community brought to bear is that it succeeded. The book, Worlds in Collision then, merely the first of the books, had been on the top of the bestseller list for something like 11 weeks. And nonetheless, the publisher was so mortally wounded, is the only word, by the turning away of salesmen from the doors of professors' studies and all of the implications that went with this, that the book was transferred to another publisher which was willing to take it over, which, after all, is a fairly extraordinary thing in publishing.
Not only was the scientific press carping at him, and in a way that was violent, not in terms of an orderly discussion that this idea is yet to be tested and it takes more time and etc., but saying this idea is crazy and any man who has such an idea is mad, insane, that kind of thing. But the establishment through which men who think that way make a living, the academic establishment, was saying to this man, you know, you're not safe. Now, in the case of most of the young, being themselves, unhappily, is not...
Dr. Birnbaum, president of Staten Island Community College.
In the case of Velikovsky, there is something hard, and the cost of being himself has been very, very great. That is a condition to which I think the young profitably can be exposed. And if I had my way, every young undergraduate student in my college, every one, whether he's in the humanities or the hard sciences, would be required to examine the Velikovsky case.